G'day guys, thought I'd give you a quick update on where I'm at. It's been a couple of weeks. I'm still plugging away at this dash. You start one thing and realise you've got to do something else, and then realise, well, I've got to do this, and so you're chopping backwards and forwards. And a lot of this I'm learning on the go. I haven't done much of this, so I'm just having a go. I don't really do how-to videos because I don't know what I'm doing. I'm just having a go basically and learning along the way. There's plenty of videos on YouTube where you can pick up ideas. But basically I've got the carbon done for the dash. I'm having a few fitment issues, which I knew I would because I've basically used these parts as a plug and then just laid the carbon over the top with the resin and then popped it off, so the size is going to be a little bit out. We already noticed I've put this material in. I'll go into that a bit later. So when I say a plug mold, basically I've just laid this part over the top of this part. So the size of this part is slightly different to this part. By rights, yeah, I could have made a mold and then laid that inside the mold to get exactly the same size. But that's a lot of extra work for a one-off. So I've chosen this way, plus it gives me better control of the final finish. So what I do is I put about 4 coats of this mold release. It's like a wax, just following the instructions over it. Then I spray this stuff, it's called PVA. It's like a water-based liquid, and I do like 2 mist coats and then 2 full coats, leaving about half an hour in between each coat to dry. That's what gives you your release. Now the prep on this wasn't a huge deal for me. As you can see, you can still see sanding marks in the bog and all that because you weren't going to see the inside surface. Even though it came up pretty good, if you look closely, you can see the scratches from the bog transferred into the resin from these areas where bogged. Like I said, but if you were going to do a mold, you would have to get that perfect because the mold, what the finish on the mold is the finish you're going to get on the carbon. So doing it this way is a lot less work, but having said that, you've then got to sand this. So this has been sanded. I pour extra resin on here to give me like a filler, so I don't rub through to the carbon. You can see here where I've rubbed through the carbon, but this is a vent that's got to be cut out here, so that doesn't really matter. So you've got to be careful. So what I do is I pour extra resin on it once I've got all the carbon down. I've got, and then I pour a mix of resin with styrene in it, and this makes it easier to sand because if you just sand normal resin, it tends to block up the paper because it's not fully cured on the surface. It's got like a wax in it. So the styrene gets rid of that and makes it easy to sand. So I just start off with 80 grit, not the top off it, then go to 180 grit. This is dry, and then this final is sanded with 400 wet and dry. Like I said, you can see I've put a bit of material in here. Like I said, I'll go into that in a second. So I've still got more prep to do on this, but while I fix my fitment issues, especially around here, I want to reinforce this on the other side, on the back of it, where it bolts to the dash. There's 3 layers of carbon on the main face, and I've just put an extra strip down each side. You can see that underneath, just for a little bit more reinforcement. You can see the join just there. So I'll put a strip across there and a strip across here where it bolts down. You can see where the vent's got to be cut out. I left that on purpose so I could get my cut almost spot on. But yeah, I've got a little bit of work to do on some of the edges, because carbon doesn't like to follow the surface. Now, like I said, you can make a mold, but the problem with that is it's a lot of extra work for one-off, and there's a cost of materials and everything. You'd make a fiberglass mold, holes and stuff like that. So I prefer this method for one-offs. I've also done the side piece. So that's the carbon, it just fits straight over. So, and the weight difference is massive. The reason I've filled it along here is because this had quite a sharp edge. That's where the screw holes were. So I filled those. I'm going to have to make alternative arrangements to fit that. But yeah, just to make the carbon go around, give it a softer edge, because the carbon, what'll happen is it'll try and lift in any cavities. So yeah, that's it so far. So I'll just show you the fitment issues. It looks okay, but I've got a gap down here. Now there is a gap there on the normal one, the standard one, but not that big, and it all comes down to where it screws in here, because it comes out just a pinch more, and that transfers to everywhere. So I've got to readjust it, make a few modifications to it, and try and get it all to fit. And again, this is where I've got to go backwards and forwards. I finished the foam mostly for the dash, but I need to do this piece now to making sure that this fit is right. So I've got to foam this up because I've modified it here to come out a little bit extra, a right round, and you can see here too, it's got like a step. So I've got to foam these bits, and I'm going to have to cut some slots down here for where, when I cover it, the material's got somewhere to go. Otherwise it's just going to look really shit with a rough edge there. So yeah, it's a lot of dicking about basically to try and get this done. And this is the part, this fits in here. Now I'll just swap hands. This fits in here. You can see where the screw holes are, and like that. So the carbon fits pretty good. It still needs a little bit more minor trimming, but it should work out okay. It's just a lot of messing around. So this is where I've got to reinforce. I always planned on reinforcing behind here. I didn't want to make this section too thick because it will throw the whole section out. So I'm going to sand all this back and reinforce this. I'll probably make a brace, because there's a big beam that runs right along the bottom. It connects all these parts. So it's over here, that's it there. It's like a big steel brace, which I'm going to make out of aluminium, but that's a bit down the track. So I'll probably make a brace that comes down here out of aluminium or maybe carbon fibre, because I'm not having a glove box. All the glove box has been deleted, so saving a fair bit of weight there, saving a couple of kilos at least. So and it'll look pretty good once it's done in a satin clear coat. That'll come up pretty good. It's got a few little imperfections, but overall pretty happy. So this material, if you've watched previous videos, probably right back at the beginning, one of my inspirations as a kid was the movie Le Mans with Steve McQueen, and the Golf coloured Porsche 917s, but also the GT40s ran the Golf colours as well. And I even thought about one stage actually doing the whole paint job in Golf colours, but I couldn't get it to where I was happy. So I've done what I've done with the paint job, but I still wanted to do something with to pay homage, I suppose, or whatever, that, because it was a huge influence when that movie came out and I saw it as a kid. So I wanted to do something with Golf colours, and it just so happens this material came out probably a year or so ago, and I bought, and it was quite expensive. It was probably, I think, $200 a metre or something like that, I can't remember. But I bought some. I'm going to be doing the seats in like cloth inserts. So I was after something a bit fruity for the interior, just to break it up a bit, and I was going to do a tartan or something that pay homage to the 70s, where they really experimented with crazy colours and whatnot in the interior and that, and I wanted to sort of do that as well. So that's where I'm at with that. So they'll be cloth, like the seats will be vinyl, and they'll have a cloth insert, and that'll be my Golf inspiration, Golf colours inspiration, whatever you want to call it. So yeah, that's the reason for that material. And I just thought, oh, just to break the carving up a bit, I'll put a stripe down here. I'm not sure how it'll work out. I think it'll look okay. So far I'm happy with it, but we'll see. You can see there's a little bit of a colour difference, but you get that. The resin changes the colour a little bit, but that's okay. It's on the dash, it's a fair way from the seats. But yeah, just a few neat touches to the dash. Yeah, so just a quick video, just a bit of an update. That's where I'm at. Like I said, I'm going around in circles. I'm still trying to figure out how I'm sewing this leather. I've got all the leather off the lounges. I've got a huge pile of leather offcuts off the lounges. And I'm working away at that to sort of, the leather doesn't seem to want to go around corners or anything like that. Now I know you can stretch it and soften it and all that, but I am no expert. I am using a little sewing machine. It does seem to sew it okay, but it's going to take me a bit of time, and it's going to have lots of seams. So like I said, I want to do all this myself. This dash is quite complicated, so I'm just going to have seams, and it's going to be patchy. I don't know what else to say. If I hate it when I've done it, it'll just be a waste, and I'll figure something else out. But that's where I'm at with the sewing. So I'm still practicing my sewing, and yeah. Here's this is a little test strip I've done. This is a bit of a gloss. I just did this to, can you see that? That was a little bit of a test to see if the material would actually take with the resin, and it came out all right. So yeah, we'll see. Thanks for watching. Hope you're enjoying the vids, and thanks for all the likes and subscriptions. Appreciate it. Cheers, bye.